Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of daily driving a classic car here in Southern California. I figured I'm pretty qualified to speak on this topic given that I have been daily driving my 1967 Pontiac Tempest for the last 3 years now. And I'm sure there's a ton of people who are curious about it. You know, is this a practical thing to do? But I figured I'd start by showing you what I drive. So let me show you. Okay, I'm here at the dog park, so excuse all the barking. But as you can see, it is a beautiful day here in California. It is 70 degrees right now. So it really makes California the perfect state to daily drive one of these cars because you have fantastic weather all year round. So can't say enough good things about that. And here it is. This is my 1967 Pontiac Tempest. This is my baby. I love this car so much, and it's been a while since I've done a video on it. So for those of you who follow the channel, this has been so reliable for me. It's been getting me from A to B every single day. And I know there's a lot of people who always ask me about the paint. No, I have no intentions on painting this car. I really dig the patina on it. This is actually the original blue color. It's a Montreux blue, 1967. But what I love so much about this car is I don't have to worry about it. You know, it's got plenty of little dents and dings all over. It's got a bunch of scratches, all of these from the previous owner. I'm actually the second owner of this car, which is incredible. And what's crazy to think about is this car is almost 60 years old. We're in 2025, but the car, even though it is an old car, it's been fully upgraded. I'm talking the whole 9 yards. So as you can see, I LS swapped it. I actually built this 6-liter myself. I hopped it up a little and put it in the car here. It's got a 4L80E transmission behind it, so it has overdrive. It's fuel injected. It has all new suspension front and back. It has a disc brake conversion. I'm just running manual brakes because I prefer the feel. What else? Oh, it's got air conditioning. That's pretty luxurious. So, like I said, even though the car is really old, I basically built it so that way it could still be a comfortable ride and something that could keep up with regular traffic here in California. The freeways can be pretty crazy, and I wanted something that I could depend on every day. So one of the tips I have is if you're going to be daily driving something old here in California, you should really invest in your cooling system. So I have this big old radiator here and a Delta Pag electric fan. It's actually a brushless fan, and that has worked wonders for me. I have never overheated before, and I get caught in quite a bit of traffic. So anyway, here is my ride, and we'll just get right into the pros and cons. Got Dakota digital gauges, got my stereo, my AC right there. And because it's fuel injected, it fires up just like a new car. Okay, pro number 1, registration and insurance on classic cars is really cheap. So I recently renewed my registration on this car, and it came out to $120 for the whole year. And I also went ahead and checked my insurance premium, and I pay less than $950 a year to insure this thing. So that's really cheap by California standards. I mean, I don't know how it is in other states, but if you were to drive a brand new like 2024, 25 vehicle here, your insurance rates, your registration would easily be 6 times that amount. Easily. Another benefit is that you have no car payments. So parts store and find the parts that I need. It's not like I have to search for specific, 67 Pontiac parts. So that's why I did it. Another argument that I'll make, not that I want to get into any type of environmental talk, but I would highly argue that driving a classic car is way more eco-friendly than constantly buying a new car every couple of years. I mean, to think that this car is going to be my daily, probably for the rest of my life. Think about how many cars that saves from being, produced and all the emissions produced with that. So while some may argue that this vehicle emits more than a Prius, I'd like to think I'm doing the world a service by keeping this one on the road and continuing to fix it and invest in it and not change it out for a new car every couple of years. So pro number 3, classic cars are very easy to work on. What I love about driving something like this is, I built it myself, along with the help of my boyfriend, of course. Want to give him credit. But because I built it, I know where everything is. I know all the noises that it makes, all its little quirks. So you become really in tune with your car. You get to know it really well. And there's a huge sense of reward in knowing that you put together something that runs, you drive it every day, you keep it on the road. So there's such a good feeling in that. So that alone, I would say, is a huge reason that you should definitely build your classic and get it out there. Pro number 4, and this is the most obvious one, but daily driving a classic car is just so much fun. It's crazy to be, driving in 2025, you're with all this modern traffic, and you look out over your hood and you see just the old school fenders and all the little details that really make this thing a classic. And also just looking at my dash, I've pretty much retained a lot of the factory features of my dash, even though it is pretty modern with the gauges. I've retained a lot of the factory aspects, so when I look at my dash, it just totally transports me to a different time, and that's so cool. Plus, it makes running errands so much more enjoyable. When I have to go get groceries or go to the parts store or get gas, I'm actually really looking forward to it because it's just an excuse to go out there and drive my car. So really, there's just no better feeling. Number 5, you're going to get a lot of compliments and make a lot of friends. In my experience, whenever I take this car out, without fail, I'll get a thumbs up from other drivers on the road, or when I stop to fill up for gas, I'll always run into, an old timer who would love to chat and tell me stories about how back in the day they owned one of these cars, and it's just so cool. It clearly unlocks a memory for a lot of people, and they just have such an appreciation of seeing this car still on the road. And not only have I made a ton of friends in real life, driving this thing around in town, but I've also made a bunch of really good friendships online because of the car. So it's just great how the car community kind of finds each other, and people just share their love for these classics. And funny enough, I'm actually really good friends with the guy who sold me this car, I think a little over 4 years ago. So shout out to you, Shannon. Number 6, classic cars are appreciating assets. So unlike a new car, when you drive it off the lot, it's appreciating. A classic car is gaining value over time, and that's simply because they're not making any more of these. Obviously, this one depends on a number of factors. It depends on what classic car you daily drive. Is it a popular model? Is it desirable, like a Camaro, a Chevelle, cars like that? It also depends on, of course, how you built it. Were the modifications that you did to it very tasteful? Did you, ruin the originality of it? There's a number in a million years. So I guess this one doesn't really matter to me too much. But yeah, it's just cool to know that, you know, something that you're driving is gaining value. And of course, you got to be really careful, you know, when you're driving something this often. You know, there's way more opportunity for accidents to happen, or, you know, you could get further damage done to the car, like more scratches and dents. But as long as you're really careful, you're going to preserve the value of it, and it's still going to be worth something should you ever decide to sell it down the line. Number 7, and the last one that I have, is going to be the memories. There are just so many memories to be made in an old car, and driving an old car makes everything so much more memorable. Like, we have taken this car on so many different trips to so many different places here in California, and it's incredible how well you can remember those trips when you're driving an old car. Like, I vividly remember which gas stations we stopped at on the way to Las Vegas, going up to Mammoth, all these different places. I feel like when you're in a new car, you're just, it's a means to get from point A to B, and you're just trying to make it there as fast as you can. But when you're in an old car, you're just really enjoying the whole experience. One of my favorite memories is when I had the Pontiac loaded down with a group of our friends, and I was driving everybody home from the bar one night. I was DD, of course, because I wanted to drive my car there. And I had this thing fully loaded up with people, and we were driving down the grade, and man, everyone was having a blast. We were bumping the music, the guys were screaming in the back, like, this is so cool. And I think sometimes I forget how cool it is for non-car people to experience an old car, and it was the best. It was such a great time, and something as simple as that, as like driving home from the bar, was just this like awesome memory that I have now. It was more fun than I'm describing it, but you get the point. It's the little things. All right, let's talk about the cons. So I have one major con to daily driving a classic car every day, and that is, of course, safety. So when you drive an old car, as you know, it's not going to come equipped with airbags. In my case, as you can see, I don't even have a shoulder belt. I just have a lap belt here, and that's it. So that's not necessarily to deter you from dailying the classic. It's just to say that if you are going to, you have to be so careful. I'm talking, you got to be aware of all your surroundings, always looking in your mirrors, always looking around, looking at what's ahead. I have new brakes, but I have manual brakes. So just things like keeping your distance from cars in front of you. A lot of cars, you know, if you don't build them or improve the suspension and steering, you know, you're going to have questionable handling. So that's the thing, is there's no room for error in these cars. There's no room to make a mistake. It's you're playing with your life. So when I drive this thing, while it's really easy for me to step on it and do burnouts and reckless stuff, I mean, it's pretty fun to do that stuff. There's a time and place for it, is what I'm saying. I won't do that when there's other people around. I'll do it if there's a nice big open stretch of road, or I know I got lots of room. You know, you just don't want to be a hazard to anybody else, and you surely don't want to put your life in danger. It's just not worth it. So I think that's the biggest con that I have. Now, of course, there's going to be people who are saying, like, oh, what about fuel economy? Well, I'll say this, it's a case-by-case thing. So in my instance, I have a fuel-injected LS, and this car gets around 20 miles per gallon on the freeway, which is not bad at all for a V8. And also living in California, 91 that's what it costs right now. And because my engine, you know, it's hopped up a little, it's got different heads, pistons, cam. It has a little more compression than a stock 6-liter LS would have. So because of that, I got to go with 91 every single time. So that kind of sucks. It's expensive. But like I said, it's a case-by-case thing. You could build your LS or whatever engine you have to be more fuel efficient if that was a big priority to you. But because I don't have to commute very far for work, it's not a big issue for me. Alright, I just got back to the shop, and I think that's going to do it for this video. So, like I said, this is just kind of my take on daily driving a classic here in California. Of course, everyone's experience is going to be different depending on what you drive, where you live, whole bunch of factors, but I think usually people have a pretty negative take on this topic, and they'll give you all the reasons why you shouldn't do it. But I wanted to make my video a lot more positive and just share all of the great things about dailying an old car. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know if you'd like to see more videos similar to this. And if you'd like to support the channel, head on over to gnarlyspeedshop.com. We have a ton of new merch available. New t-shirt designs, new hats, stickers, keychains, the works. And car show season will be coming up sooner than you think, so be sure to grab a shirt and rock it at your local car show. But yeah, guys, thank you again for watching, and we will see you next week with Blue Bayou. Planning on getting that old drag car running again and back on the road, so stick around for that.